Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Zenful Conversations. We are here for another unscripted, unedited conversation from the living room. Today we actually have the opportunity to have Lisa Frechette here with us today. Lisa, thank you. Welcome to the conversation. Thanks for coming on into it. And uh, let's just say hello and what's on your mind right now.
Well, hello, Zenjen. Well, I'm just so happy to be here with you. It's been a while, and someone asked me like, "What are you doing?" It's like, well, I found this woman during the pandemic online on Facebook, and just like how you started your journey, and I immediately connected with you. So you could ask me to do anything, and I'd probably say yes. Like
It's
that's
true.
just
It
like
has been a while.
but I remember we did that. We did I don't even remember what we call it, like about my book. We had an audience and it was on
Hmm.
Zoom and it was you just emanate such a peaceful, I see the peace sign behind you, like peaceful and warm and inviting environment and a safe place for people to share deeply.
Cool. Thanks. That's important to me. You know, it is the most important thing to me. It's the space. But it's what I need and what have been needing.
Mhm.
I'm kind of grounded for 10 years really, because I got hung up in life and all that. And this is me crawling my way out of the hole. I didn't know about all of this expression of trauma and all that. I didn't understand that at the
Mhm.
time, and I had just so I went into a headspin when you don't know about caring for yourself or expressing emotions and all of this. You don't know that, and so you usually, from what I did anyway, is overstimulated until you know some part of you waves the white flag, and then you start to crawl your way back up. And that's what all of this, it has been and still is. Although I will say that I've made it up to the up clear, see clearly. There's always so much more to learn, and it's just such a, now things are beautiful and enthralling, and it's like it's just amazing. So thanks for being here. Yeah, we do still have those conversations, Lisa, although I'm changing the format on them somewhat. And we might revisit that conversation, you and I, now that I know what I'm doing.
Well, I think you knew what you were doing from your heart then. Like you knew what you were doing from your heart.
um, so tell me, what made you say yes to this? Well, I guess that kind of answers it there a little bit, but
Well, I'll say that.
why do you think it was a good idea? Yeah.
Well, I'll say your timing was, first of all, yes, because I would, because I have such respect for what you do and what you bring to people. Um and I'm also toward the end of another writing project, and I've been a ghostwriter, which you could have told me, like it just, the way it happened serendipitously. Like I didn't imagine that ever happening, and we're towards the end of that process. And so your timing was just perfect. And also the person I'm ghostwriting, and I have her permission to say it, her name is Bonnie, and she's been away in London. So it's given me time to really delve into her book while she's out of town, like pulling all the strings as a ghostwriter in her voice, um, and pulling it all together. And I don't know if I told you this, but the title of her book is Willing to Become Real. And that's either going to be the title or subtitle. I'm leaning, and it's as Bonnie sees it. And so to me, that title fits in with what you do, right?
Yeah, right,
And,
right,
and for me
right.
too, like, and myself as well. And for me, like willing to become real. It's almost like it's a mantra for me at times, like, especially like when I'm in a tricky situation, um, especially the way the world is, and I won't go into to that kind of thing. But it helps me, like sometimes the realness, there's a deeper element to it, and I have to be discerning when that is appropriate. Like I'm not telling a lie, but I might not say as much about something. And I've learned a lot about that during this time in our history and culture, as well as through being Bonnie's ghostwriter, and that whole willing to become real phrase, and the depth of that, like the willingness, like you want to, and that's you on your journey, like you were ready and you wanted to move forward. And I've had the same kind of experience. And then to become, like becoming over time. And it's not like it's over when you reach a certain age or something. So it's not like a magical day comes and you're ever finished with that. And then the real part, like how are you defining, not you, but how are we each defining real for ourselves? Like honesty, integrity, caring, and loving
Right.
the world.
You know, I'm very fond of Rosemary Watola Tromer, poet, and you may have seen some of
Yes,
her
I
things
have
come
seen her.
through.
Yeah.
She, her thing is, uh, it doesn't have to be good, as in your writing poetry is where she's at with it, but it really goes across the board. It doesn't have to be good, but it has to be true. And what's true for you doesn't even necessarily mean factual,
Mhm.
so it's what's true, uh, and
In
what's
this in this
truest
moment, like
in
if you
this
think of
moment.
like when I was 17, what was true? What when I was 27, what was true? When I was 47, what was true? Now in my early 60s, it's like, well, what's true for me now? Like it shifts, and it deepen. I feel like it shifts over time. Again, that's not stagnant either. And I think
Yeah.
I did do something with her, that I did do something with her, with you, via Zoom, and it was
Yeah,
wonderful.
I think she is wonderful. She's just a wonderful human being. Um, yeah, and another thing that she says there is this the path of love.
Is as a question?
Is this the path of love? To
Oh, I
ask
love that.
ourselves,
Is
to
this, I'm
ask
gonna write that down.
ourselves.
Is this
Hmm.
the path, is this the path of love? Whatever is
Yeah,
before us. Like if you
yeah,
have a choice to make. Oh,
yeah.
I love
So
that.
just saying to ourselves, but this is a grounding in a way, okay, but grounding ourselves is what's true for me right now, because we get hung up in the brains a lot of times. What's true for me right now? And then is this the path of love? And we can discern a lot from that. But so let's see. We are today, is today still Monday? First day of fall here.
Right, right.
But this is still going to be part of the Summer of Love series. I wanted this to certainly be part of the Summer of Love series. So one, I wanted to kind of touch on your practices of peace, because I know you have studied and worked with that pretty deeply. Um, but that kind of goes with the next segment, with the fall series, which is Peace, Please. So I think what we could do is start on this first one with the Summer of Love and go into whatever you want to talk about with your ghostwriting.
Mhm,
And then maybe touch on peace in your book a little bit with how you accessed peace and
mhm.
how you can just touching on, you know,
So starting
how's
with,
that sound? Well, I
so
just
starting
thought,
with love.
yeah, yeah, and your book there that you're ghostwriting or anything you wanted to share about that, or
Well, it actually goes deep for me because my third child was born really sick, unexpectedly really sick, and his diaphragm worked the opposite way that ours does. And this is 1996, before cell phones. And I had no idea that I would live in a NICU and go through a surgery and watch my little baby suffering. Like I lived in the NICU. I literally held him his whole life. And he died when he was 3 months old. And that experience, and I can't say it was 1 minute, it was over years, but being in the NICU, in the neonatal ICU, a NICU, with no laundry, no cooking, no people could have just like come in and visit me, like no phones. And I have to say, I'm grateful there weren't cell phones, like it, and I just literally held him and worked with the doctors and so on. And that was my question. Like, what is love? Like, I would just look at this little baby suffer, like he had trouble breathing, and just watching him. And I would just say, like, I would just kept asking that question, what is like, would I love you more than another child? Like, what is love? Like, what does that look like? And after he died when he was 3 months old, and I still had that question. And at the end, my marriage started to disintegrate after that. And I would go to the cemetery where he was buried, and I would say, I would just say, what should I do? And I would hear his little voice, and he would just say, love. And I, at that time in my life, I thought that that was like being a doormat. Like I had no bound. I thought that love did not include the word no or any kind of boundary at all. And so I was really warped in my own thinking about love. And I knew it wasn't right. Like I just knew it wasn't right. And over time, I started to get to that. So it's always, I have the word love written in my house. It's become my like life. And I can't say that I have conquered it or like I know everything about it, but I'm constantly seeking what that looks like. And so my second child, which is, my son Adam, he had struggles with addiction. And so that was also extremely challenging. And he also died driving drunk. But my book that I wrote about our relationship, my memoir about my relationship with him, was called Transforming to Joy. So I feel like I have these two pillars: love from Thomas, my baby, and joy. I'm not saying that it's joyful to watch someone with addiction. I'm saying that what I learned about myself and how I was reacting to him, and shifting from that reacting to responding with love. Like, so I call it in the memoir, shifting from reacting from fear to responding with love. So people will say, oh, it's such a tragedy, two of your children have died. And I really do not, I've never felt that way. And I know it might sound weird, I'm not saying I haven't had deep, dark periods, but I feel like they've also been my pillars of love and joy that I continue to, it's like they've opened some kind of something for me.
Right. That's wow, one
So,
so powerful, but thank
that's
God.
where but that, you asked about love, and when I think love,
No, 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 no.
I
Well,
think Thomas, like that was the beginning.
that's so great. But that must have been such a complicated
Oh, very.
confusion about that whole experience. Just the comprehending it.
And that's why I'm saying it wasn't in the day, it was over years, like
Oh
many
heck
years,
yeah. Oh
and
yeah. Oh yeah.
therapy. And that's when I like expression became really important to me. I just started naturally
Yeah.
doing it after Thomas's death. And then I was already an artist. Anyways, I kind of became an artist after Thomas's death. And then, yeah. But I feel like that
Yeah.
expression is I think that expression is love. So when I wrote the Transforming to Joy memoir about my relationship with Adam, the book jacket, can I show you the book jacket?
Yes, yes, of course.
So this is the book jacket, and this lotus is a
I
painting
have the book.
that I made in his memory. I had not planning on writing a book at that time. It was in the summer, of course, in Sarasota. It was super hot. I did it on metal. So that's where the painting came from. And then I started translating my paintings to clothing. And so I was like, oh, I'll do Adam's painting on a scarf, which I did. And then later on, the book came. It was like, oh, someone was talking about, well, what are you going to put on the book jacket? It's like, well, of course it has to be my Adams read something and someone took that design and I don't know how she did it, but she put it into that lotus shape. Because to me, that lotus, like what you're talking about, the complications, the messiness, the murkiness, the pain, the suffering, the questioning, it's like that lotus. I call it like the mud and the muck. And it's like, if we don't have that mud and muck, we don't have this beautiful lotus. So it's like, I'll just say, how do we use the shit in life to,
Mm,
to like, what can I learn from this hard thing? And not that you're always
mm-hmm.
ready to ask that question. I feel like yeah, it's a slow process. And a
Yeah,
lot
but
of,
some definitely don't want to avoid. And even, maybe we're not ready to ask it, but if we, keep approaching it, it gets a little bit softer each time. I saw a post of yours recently that said something about the titles, is the chapters there. You want to read those chapters?
actually, let me look at.
The names of the chapters. I think it was Muck
So,
and
so the anniversary of Adam's death happens to be this Wednesday. And
right.
um and sometimes I don't really like to go back and look at my book. Like, I mean, but
Mm-hmm.
I was curious about it. I was like, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go look and see what I did. And so the beginning is called an invitation. And I think that all of these can be applied. So while my book is about my relationship with my son who was struggling with addiction, all of these things can apply to any hard situation in life. So it's not limited. So I've kind of used the tools that I learned through Adam's addiction. I apply to all of life, not just to that one. So the first was an invitation. And to me, that kind of goes along with being willing, right? That's like, you're invited and what are you going to go with it? So the first one is called Mud. And that was my shifting. That's the subtitle. And then the second part is called Muck, which is hooked, which was watching him become addicted. And then the third one is called Light. And that's about when he found recovery. And then the last one is called Bloom. And I think that's the last one. Let me just double check. Yeah, Bloom. And then that was about release. So that was, he did die driving drunk. He had been sober for a while and he started drinking again. And clearly he couldn't do that without doing something like, he died driving drunk. But it was like also like that, the release. And so, and then the very last part was called continuing. It's like you continue on. And so what do you do with, and what do you do with like the hard things, especially, I don't know, any kind of trauma? And for me, it's like, do I want to become bitter or better? Like, do I want to be, I've seen a lot of people become bitter when they've had it really hard. And I knew I didn't want to do that. It's like that, like, like observing humans. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when I see humans behaving in ways that it's like, I don't want to behave like that.
Yeah, we have a choice now. What's it going to be, Jen?
So yeah, so it's like, do I
What
want to
you gonna do?
become the bitter one or do I want to become the better? Like, and for me, that was growing in, it's like when you have your heart broken in those kinds of deep ways, it's like something can grow in there. I feel like it's opened me to compassion in a much deeper way. And it's opened me to, like, I don't take irritating things in life seriously like I used to. I laugh a lot more, like, with irritate. It's like, how important is that? Like,
Right. Well, you don't want to even ask what can touch you now. I don't
so
even want to know.
yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like nothing. I felt that way after Thomas's death. And interestingly, I'll never forget this. So Thomas had died, and that was, I forget how many years. And then Adam died quite a number of years after. And my daughter flew from Boston to Sarasota. And she said, this feels really familiar, because she was thinking of losing her baby brother, and now she's losing her brother who was 2 years younger than her. And it was because I had done a lot of grief work after Thomas, I was part of the Compassionate Friends group, which is for parents who have lost children. I read every book on parental loss. I was the librarian for my group. So I dug into it. So when Adam died, I didn't have as much, I was definitely crushed, and I was definitely like the darkest part of my life, like dark and dark. Um,
But you had
but
tools.
I had tools, and I wasn't judging it because I knew it was a process. Like people would say things like, "You're not eating." Well, I just couldn't. I was eating enough. I just felt I just couldn't eat a lot of food after like either one of it. It was like I just couldn't. And I knew it, but it kind of irritated me when people would say that, "Eat, you should eat." And I was like, I knew I was eating enough. And I knew I knew it was a process, and I knew I wasn't going to be that way indefinitely, like with the eating, for example. Like, so it was just like I knew I didn't judge that. I didn't say, "Oh, you should be eating more," or "You should be doing." It was like I was really, I just was um I don't know what to say, more accept I was, plus I was older. I was a little bit older. I had learned a lot through his addiction, so there was that. So there were a lot of,
You were honoring yourself, giving yourself space. How nice.
yeah, yes, absolutely.
How nice. There's a poem by Gregory Orr. Do you
Mhm.
know this poem, Not to Make Loss Beautiful?
No, you have it right in front of you?
This is an excerpt. Not
Mhm.
to make loss beautiful, but to make loss the place where beauty starts, where the heart understands for the first time the nature of its journey. Yeah, but not to make loss beautiful, but to make loss the place where beauty starts is what it sounded like to me when you were talking about that.
That is a beautiful poem, and I hope you could send it to me after this.
Wow.
That is, I remember being in the basement of my house after Thomas died, and I was making some art or something. I had like a little art area down there. And that word, I was writing the word beauty. Like I just felt like that there was beauty. I think the phrase, that was like beauty within the pain. Like that there was beauty within the pain. Like there was something
Gosh, you were definitely something was definitely born
over
in
time.
you. Yeah,
Yes, over
yeah.
time. And I think I have to stress that because sometimes people, I think especially in our culture, we think everything is like, all right, it'll happen. Oh, if I do this one thing, or if I do this affirmation, like I think part of it, a significant part, is not sweeping it under the carpet and learning to be okay with the pain of it. Like not like being okay with discomfort, being okay with having a heart that hurts and not running from it. That being said,
Yeah.
but I don't think you should need to live there all the time. So one of my practices that I learned after Adam's death was I was seeing a therapist, and I was like I don't want to run away from feeling my feelings, but then I go into this like deep, it's like deep grief place, and I can't get out. And the suggestion was, they called it ping ponging. So it's like you give yourself a certain amount of time to sit in that really painful place and like be with your feelings, and then you do something that you love to do. And that strategy was extremely helpful for me because you have that balance. Like you're not running, but you're not going like down the rabbit hole with it either. So it's like that. So I still will practice that. Like if I'm in a, like I'll allow myself to have a pity party. It's like something like, okay, I'm having a pity party from 1 to 3. And usually it's over before that because I'm allowing it. It's like, and then
Right,
it's like,
right.
so it's like a, not an avoidance. It's like facing whatever is right there.
Yeah, yeah. I did not lose two children. I can't even imagine, being able to deal with that and come out smiling as much as you are. But to get stumbled up in something in life, we all have stuff. We all have traumas, and I think for me, part of it was just the accumulation of all my life
Mhm.
and and then just becoming a parent at a very young age, and then divorce, and ignoring the traumas instead of working through them. That I found my release in stimulation and alcohol myself. um but anyway, at some point the body, talks back to you, their body or mind or both.
Yep.
And yeah, and that's but so I think it was an accumulation of all of that. But what has helped me in my in this turnaround about face direction that I've been over a decade now, and I grounded and did grounding practices for a decade. Here we are. We're probably 13 years out now. Um, but I found what's helpful is just going in and touching it a little bit, and honoring myself as much as no, there's no forcing myself to stay with it. I don't even have to have it time, as long as I touch it and start to improve this relationship with myself. And it's
Right.
all been about that relationship with myself, and it's still that. And I have truly found that just showing up for yourself works. It's not even effort or anything you got to do. Just be there for yourself, and it happens by itself, sorta.
It does. It's like almost like when like you might have like sometimes I'll just have like a moment like when did that happen? Like I feel better. Like you just feel like a little better. And then it's like, oh, I feel okay. Like, it's just
Right.
it is it's sometimes I call that like the footwork. You just like showing up. You're just showing up. Even sometimes you feel like you're not making any progress, or it's like you just show up. And and then there's the other that and then that accumulates, right?
Right. Well, it's a practice, right? And we need to practice that. Dr. Darcy Lord is a self-love expert. You may know her. She's local to the area too. Um, but she has these like five, not tenets for self-love practice. How do you do it? And the first one is, well, to notice how you feel, but rescue yourself.
Mhm.
Rescue yourself.
How does that look for you? Like, I don't know, rescue yourself from a situation or
Well,
from
from
yourself, from your
whatever's
thought, from
going,
your thoughts?
yes, from you, whatever it is. Once we notice how we feel, be there for yourself. Don't
Like,
abandon yourself,
or judge? Is judgment in there
or
too?
judge. You gotta imagine, you know. Yeah, showing up for yourself is huge. Because we've lost trust. We've abandoned ourselves so much. So if we don't start showing up for ourselves, we won't strengthen that, and that's where it's all at. This is the magic in loving yourself, that
Right.
that obviously you do now. So cool. Gosh, thanks for sharing all of that. Woo, girl. Yeah. Well, what else you got on your mind?
Let's see. I'm looking at your piece, and I can see it in the corner. And I know that's your, so it's like peace. Like I have to come back. Are you familiar with the work of Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese? So especially at this moment in our history, like when you think, like I always come back to like, do I feel peaceful inside? And like again, that questioning and like, am I agitated internally, or is my mind going like a pinball, or is my, am I feeling ungrounded, or it's kind of scattered? And it's like coming back to that peace. And for me, like the peace is, I think it requires, and it seems like so tied in with love and with joy. Um, I think that the peace is like it for me, it's like means I have to slow down. I have to, like what you said, like, how do I feel? What are my thoughts? what is happening in my heart, how's my body, what's going on in my body, and trying not to multitask, for instance, or stack my day. I like to leave space in between my things in my day. Like, so and like the breath, like feeling like that, they all seem like interconnected.
The energy, the energy we want to be. And that's what it is for me too. I say that stacking too much in my day is an ever work in progress over here.
I know. I do wonder how you do it. It's like, how does she do all these things?
It's not so much the doing it all, it's the planning of.
Yes. And then the follow through, and here's the link, and
And
then you have to do the post stuff. And
yeah, so, but hey, I'm just a chick hair girl on my own healing journey and sharing my journey with anybody that, uh, I think we can learn a lot from each other, and the value of being in community is huge, especially in a time when it's real important to be with like-minded people for me to be able to express, because you can't hardly express, you can't even hardly talk to people without uh being uneasy about how something might be received, or people are a little bit touchy, a lot going on in the world these days.
I call it trusted friends. Share it with a trusted friend. Share something like, I think when I was younger, I made that mistake of not doing that. Like it was like too like I think I I find that there's a difference between like dumping or venting versus like sharing and like working through something.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, well, it's two different energies.
yeah,
The other one, how about this? You come back up to the mountain when you can figure this out a different way, right? Because it's the energy that we're going to bring to it. It's more of probably the victim mindset, you
mm.
know, in that. Um,
So do you see, so you have the peace necklace on, which I adore.
yeah,
So, and you
yeah.
have,
I guess I got a
I
little
see you.
overboard.
No, I love it. So is that like your guiding word?
And love too. I've got love all over the house also. I've got these love things everywhere. I've got love everywhere and I've got peace everywhere. Actually, it's getting more and more the days I go on. And my house started out having a coastal theme, but now there's like sound bowls and all different things all over the place. So,
But there's something, yeah, but
but
that,
peace and love, there's the energy there. I had the opportunity to train with Eckhart Tolle.
oh my God.
5 months. Now, it was a virtual experience, but nonetheless, 5 month training. He has a school of awakening. I became a teacher of presence.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean,
My
this
God,
training has
that's
just been,
wonderful.
oh my
Wow.
gosh, I've just been eating it up because it's such yummy stuff to learn.
Mhm.
And it's a practice, it's not a learning. And okay, good, I got it in my pocket. It's a practice, and that's what we do. But yeah, space, love, peace. To me, it all has to do with the energy associated, the breath, the space, the stillness, the silence, the peace, the love. It's right there. I'm not even sure it's separate, because when we are in stillness, or that's when we can hear silence. We're not going to see it, feel it if we're not in it. um but Kim Ang, she does
Mhm.
stuff with Eckhart, and she said when she was talking about when she first started doing things with Eckhart, they would get in the car to go somewhere. And he's real big on doing things slowly to experience
Oh,
it.
yeah. The
And she
speech.
said,
Yeah,
yeah.
everything.
So she said he got in the car and we shut the doors, and he's just sitting there. because he's experiencing how this feels, you know? And then she said, and then he goes to turn the key. And, I'm like, oh, and to me, I understand that and I appreciate it. And I was telling my guy Steve that, and he's like, he won't, no way would he have that. But our world goes so fast anymore. Um, but we're missing a lot of it because of that. Yeah, but I love
What
that
did she do? So
energy.
wait, so did she ever say anything to him? Like, what's the,
Well,
did she learn to
it
live
was
with it?
well, no, that's part of what he is. Just sitting and listening and noticing and being present. You don't have to be doing anything, you know? And he was talking even, he was saying, I'll be sitting in the living room and I'll just be sitting there and people are saying, well, come on, you can't just sit there. You got to get up. He's like, no, I just want to sit. I just want to sit here. But basically it was telling us to take 10 seconds to notice how you feel,
Mhm.
before you reach for the phone or before you, whatever it is you're going to do, take 10 seconds, take a couple breaths, feel what this experience feels like, and be with your own life, you know. But of course, he's very practiced at it. So he's like, what do you call it, a sloth?
Sometimes when I've listened to him, like when I've read his books, and of course he's right on. But when I've listened to his talks, um, there is like, it's like, did something happen to my audio or something? Because it's like this pause, right? I was like,
I do enjoy him. He's not for everybody, and not everybody can even listen to him either. There's some people that like his teachings but can't listen to him and all this other stuff. I thoroughly enjoy, and I find myself cracking up and laughing and hoping nobody's watching me because, like, what are you laughing at? But it's
do
the
you
subtle things in life that really rock me anymore.
it is, that's what it's like, a lot of little things. It's not one thing. So you think that one thing that's coming to my mind, like, do you think, where would you put calm? Like I almost put like calm and peace together. I hadn't thought of or maybe I have, like calm and peace. Like, are
Yeah, because it's
they
with
like
stillness,
sisters
I
or
would
something?
say. Stillness is so calm's probably in my mind anyway. Okay, whatever that means. But I'm thinking calm seems a little more descriptive, and stillness is more of a state of energy, maybe. But I would think that that's right in there. Calm, peace, stillness, for me.
It's almost like it lays the groundwork to make best choices rather than coming,
Well,
which is what
absolutely.
which is what I learned from Adam, like responding rather than reacting. So that was one of my strategies that I learned with him and his addiction, like, because of crazy behavior and just a lot of chaos and stuff happening constantly. And one of my things that I started to practice for myself was to pause before saying anything. And it was okay to say, I'll get back to you. Like, that's where I learned that through his addiction, like
Mhm.
those kinds of strategies. And then of course I could apply it to anything, not just in our relationship, but I could apply it to anything. But it's like that pause, that you don't have to rush
Yeah.
that part. You don't have to. And someone said this to me. She said, a friend said this to me many years ago. That's always stayed with me. If it feels urgent, do nothing.
I like it.
Like, if it's urgent, do nothing. So it's like when I had that urgency, it's like I should do something, and usually you don't have to. So it's like, all right, I'm going to do nothing and kind of like rest with it, and then make a choice to take an action or not take an action, or whatever the next step
Yeah,
is.
because that rushing and everything is out here and up
Right.
here.
It's
It's
like,
out, but it's out here. And then when we just take that breath, we come back home and seriously, yeah, that's where we can actually feel ourselves come more back in our body, or at least I can notice myself kind of seeping back in and being more conscious, instead of frenzied. Um, but yeah, but yeah, and I mean, that was the second of Dr. Darcy Lord's tenets is to uh have your higher self be
mhm,
your guiding light there, So it's taken so one is to notice how you feel and then save yourself from yourself and rescue yourself from that feeling so you can come back to yourself. Take a breath and then let your highest self be your guide, Um, and when we tune into that, I mean, we're home.
right. All
Home.
right. So I'm going to add another word into our, which you just kind of said, but I'm going to throw it in. So we said love, joy, peace as our main ones, right? Am I leaving something out? Mostly.
Heck if I remember.
And I will say like that, I call it like when I'm inspired, like to inspire me. So it's like every morning when I do my journal, it's like if I have a question, it's like, all right, like continue to guide and inspire me. Like it's like that. It's not like inspiration in spirit. So it's like not my limited, not my limited ideas, like inspire me to do whatever I'm meant to do. And like all these like things in life just start happening pretty easily.
Yeah, I noticed the energy shift too there. I think that was Ram Dass, Holy Inspiration.
Does he have that book?
I
Yeah.
think that's what he called it, Holy Inspiration. So
He's another
divine,
one. He's another one of
Yeah,
my favorites.
yeah, yeah.
It's super practical. And that's what happened. So that like the inspiration. So I wrote my book, my Transforming to Joy book. And um, I'm not like a salesperson. Like I don't want to impose anything on, like it's just my nature. Like I want to bring the book into the world, but I don't know. So I could hear Adam's voice, and sometimes like he would do this while I was writing the book, or he still will occasionally, or I have a feeling, but this time it was a command, and he was like, "Give the book to Bonnie." And I'm like, I don't really know Bonnie. Like, I don't want to like really do that. Like almost any time I have that kind of inspiration, it's like I don't really want to do it. It's like, but I knew I was meant to do it, even though I didn't want to do it. So I found kind of an occasion to again, I didn't know her very well, and I wrapped it in something, and I didn't know if she was going to read it or anything. It was at a social thing that I got invited to. I was like, okay, I'll just kind of like slip the book in. And I was like, I didn't know what to expect. And she called me afterwards. She actually read it, and we got together a couple of times, and then the pandemic happened. And then after the pandemic, she's in her 80s, and she's had a really interesting life. Like she started out with a rough beginning, somewhat rough beginning, and she found this. She kind of again like not looking for it, but she kind of fell into this nonprofit when she was in her 20s, which really started to have. She started to question herself as a person and her relationship. So that was the beginning of her shifting and growing. And she ended up marrying. She grew up dancing. She was always a dancer. Actually, she was a go-go dancer in a cage. So that's like how she started. So just that in itself, like you can imagine the stories in her life. She has a lot of funny stories, but also with shifting her person, so to speak, like what you and I are talking about our journeys. And through her dancing and through this nonprofit, and she married somebody else, lived in London, lived in Paris, and became kind of internationally known. Worked for that, started out volunteering for the nonprofit, ended up working, getting paid in New York City when she came back from Paris. And so she's kind of well known in certain circles. And people say, write your book, write your book. Well, she's a horrible writer. And it's okay for me to say that. And so she called. So after she read my book, and then whatever time went by again, and then it was after and she said, she asked, we got together and she said, would you write my book? Would you write my story? So it's been over 2.5 years. And I could never have dreamed that up ever. Like that. I didn't even want to give her my book because
Right. No, that's
I just
wild.
felt like shy. Like I didn't want to impose anything. Like, and just to, I guess that to me, that comes from like that inspiration. Like, and in this case, it was Adam's voice, like give Bonnie the, like, I can't explain that. Like, I can't
Right.
explain that.
I've had stuff like that happen. I
Yeah.
can, and I know many people have and
Everybody,
do.
I think it's the norm. It's like, it's the norm. I think it can be, it's normal to have those experiences, right?
I think so. I think that we might be too overstimulated a lot. I mean, life, I mean, good Lord, they want you to stimulate as much as you can with every single thing there is. How shiny can the son of a gun be? Uh, um, so I think that also comes with listening and quiet. Maybe, maybe we can hear more the more quiet we are. Um,
I think it goes back to that peace and calm and that,
I think so.
like you're saying, like taking things more slowly, and then that there's space for that inspiration to come through.
Yeah, well, how much time do you take with yourself, really, when it comes down to these very busy days? Uh, and how much time do we take with ourselves? Because that's a practice of being in tune with that. Otherwise, you're not going to hear it if you're doing 50 things at once. It's just not going to come through because these are subtle sensations. We can't compare to the, you know, sparkly items. It just you can't it's like noticing how the breath feels in the body. Well, you're not gonna be able to compare with, the TV, movies that have the massive explosions outdoing
No.
each one and the foods, they put stuff in it so you can't even stop. I mean, it's overstimulation. If you can't multitask, you can't do anything. I mean, come on. We got a lot going on. So while I do think it's normal, yeah, it's there. Let's just say I believe it's there, and it's up to us to tune into it.
Do you have an example of something that happened with you that you want to
Shoot,
share?
I'm every day. It's all the time. It's every
Yeah.
move of mine, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I tend to follow it for the most part, and do so before my mind tries to talk me out of it.
Exactly. If my mind's trying to track me, I was like, I know I'm probably supposed to, like, I can just kind of like
Yeah.
feel it, like, yeah, I'm meant, but I can feel that inspiration in your work.
Cool.
Like I can, when I receive your email, when I see something that you, like, I love what you put together for the piece, what are you calling it again?
Yeah, isn't that exciting?
It's so beautiful. Like, what do you call, but the visual of it and the words, what is it called again?
Peace, peace, please.
Please, please. It just was like, yes, it's like,
Well, that's how I feel, and what I'm practicing is just trying to be real, with love. I am intentionally giving love the best I can and feeling more love myself, being the energy of love and sharing it. And, I'm not comfortable with the spotlight on me either. So this is uncomfortable territory. But that is what I'm doing because it's tough times for me also. And I found myself noticing depression peeking over my shoulder more frequently.
mhm.
So being that I'm a therapist, yoga therapist, I got that certification in October last year. Um,
Congratulations.
yeah, that was amazing. It
Pat
was
on the
truly
back.
amazing. Truly amazing. Well, I know, but now I know my what I would therapy plan I would write up for myself. And it's
Uh,
to improve, and to improve my practice. That, and I couldn't like get anything from the doctor. She said, improve your practice. I'm like, dag nabbit. Uh, so
well,
so that's what I'm
but,
doing.
but Jen, it comes through. Like I can feel it.
Yay.
Like
Yay.
it was like one of those like again, it was during, I don't even know how I found you or how, because I don't even really like Facebook. Like I'm not like a
Yeah, I don't
Facebook fan.
remember a lot of
But,
how I got
but
connected with
anyway, it
people.
was just like, I don't know how but it was like, oh, I like, and remember how so many people coming out like on social, like, so like on those kind of platforms during the pandemic, like it was like, whew. And it was just like, I like her. Like there was just something I could feel, like, even though it was a screen and it was whatever, it was just like, you have that, like I immediately trusted you. Like I don't feel that way
Thanks.
with everyone. And I
Yeah,
don't
well, I
think
have
we're
no
not,
ulterior motives.
and we're not meant to, right? We're not meant to feel that way. But it's like, so even through the airwaves or the however, whatever you like, your expression of it, of love and peace is coming out.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Hey, do you want to tell us a little bit more about that, about Bonnie in the cage?
So one of the, she just like will have like these things like off the cuff. I'm like, she's like, oh, and I'm like, but you didn't tell me about that. But one of my questions about the cage was like, because she literally grew up dancing, like that was her thing. She wasn't a great student in school, but she loved to dance, and that's what she did. She was dancing all the time. So she met this band that they were like a 1 or 2 hit wonder, and they were going to start traveling. They were already traveling. She's from New Jersey. Whatever. She got to know the band from years of them, whatever, at this club. And they built cages because it was like a thing then. And so she said yes, she would do this, travel with the band. And I'm like, Bonnie, like, like a cage, like, was that demeaning or like, she's like, no, it was really like challenging. Like, she's like, I learned to spin really fast in that. And she said you had to be really careful so that your arms wouldn't whack the sides or go like the top or the bottom. And, you know, and she talks about like how she saw that as like a challenge. It wasn't like a demeaning or like a
All right.
putting a
I see
like,
a
and now
very,
could you think like putting a woman in a cage, but it didn't.
well, I mean, I'm familiar with the time zone too,
Right.
and there was a very sexy art
Yes.
form.
So it was like, yeah, and and she talks about she could see people watching her and the joy that it brought to them and how that would also bring more joy because she loved to dance. And she said it was really like a reciprocal kind of thing with the, and she talks a lot about that energy of the audience
Mm.
and being on the stage, like, or in this case, a cage. Like, she has like some Tina Turner stories, like all these like interesting to me, like just really like, uh, she just has a lot of interesting story. One time, one of my favorite ones.
I'm taking it you never danced in a cage.
I know, right? No, I know. She doesn't, she still dances, but she no longer dances in a cage. But one time, so when they were living in Paris, she's like, oh, the time I told you at the time I was in the robbery. I'm like, no, you didn't tell me about any bank robbery. I'm like, what do you mean a bank robbery? You're in a bank robbery? So her husband's work, they had to entertain people from other countries, and they had people that they were entertaining in Paris and these other couples, and they brought money that needed to be exchanged. So Bonnie brought this one woman, the other ones were all in the cafe across the street. She brought this one woman in to change her money in the Parisian bank. And they're in the line, and there was one person who you give your ticket or you gave the money to, and then someone else had it. There were 2 people that were required to change the money. First you went to this person, then you went to the second person. So they're in the line for that. And in come bank robbers, like all in black, guns, you know, like scary, like covered in black, masks, guns. I think there were a handful of them. Bonnie grabs the woman that from and she has her ducked. They somehow had a scarf on or something, and they just ducked in the corner. And she was just watching the whole thing happen. And the second person who was supposed to hand the money, like the banker, was in the bathroom. So they had to wait for the guy to come out. I'm like, oh my God. And meanwhile, Bonnie's like, just be quiet. She said she wasn't afraid through the whole thing. She would just watch. She said it was like watching a movie. And
It was present.
they stole the money. They didn't get caught, I don't think. And they, whatever, the people, their family who was across the street watching all this happen, of course, then all the police come and all that, they're like, oh my God, oh my God. And Bonnie and her husband were supposed to be entertaining at their house that night, entertaining these couples. And Bonnie's an Italian, and she made this huge thing of pasta, and like, we'll go out to eat. She's like, no way, we're having the, like, she wasn't going to change her mind about dancing and having her pasta dinner. So it was just like,
Okay, that
who
happened.
does I
Let's
like it,
continue
like,
on.
but I know she wasn't like shaken up by that. And she also wasn't, and I pointed this out to her because I'm chronicling her story. So after Hurricane Milton, I'm sure you remember Milton from last year. So she lives downtown in a high rise. She watched Milton. I mean, they were safe with the windows, blah, blah, blah. She actually watched that hurricane like stop, like we were in the eye of the storm, stop, turn around. She watched the carport stuff flying off. She watched it stop, turn, and go off in the other direction. Like, I was terrified the entire time. Like, I could never watch that hurricane. But she had no fear. She just knew they were safe and they had their contingency plans. And she and her husband went to bed and slept soundly. It was like, I was like traumatized by the by the hurricane. Like, it took
Yeah,
me
this
a
was the
while.
first hurricane I've ever evacuated for.
It
In
was
my whole
frightening.
61 years, I've only lived in Florida, and I've never evacuated before, but this one was headed right towards
And
us.
it did.
So
She was in the eye.
yeah,
So
yep, yep.
so we talked about that, and she'll say like she's more fearful of her husband's death, for example, but she's not afraid of certain situations. She just like can rise above it. Like she, or I don't, it's like grace or something. She just isn't I mean, she's prepared. Like, she wasn't
Well, she
stupid with,
trusts herself to handle it.
right. Like, yeah, like she wasn't stupid with during the bank robbery. She didn't like go up to them and say, what are you doing? Like, she knew,
Right. No,
back
she
off,
was
crouch
present.
down, go under the scarf, wait for it to be over. Like, she wasn't like same with the hurricane, but it was like she just, that kind of situation doesn't
Mm.
really ruffle her. Like that, both of those would have really ruffled ruffled me. But other things frighten her. So it's I find it like fascinating, like with watching human nature. For example, like, she's not a good writer, but this woman can edit and spell like you wouldn't believe. So as we're revising her story, she's like, you can see her focus. She's just like right on. She'll know like that word. Let's make that word. Is that word's better? Let's take that out. Put this. Like, she is like zeroed in when it comes to any kind of editing and revising. And what I love about that, like what I'm learning from Bonnie, is just like how unique we are, and to be that realness, like be willing to become real, like being real with who we are, what our strengths are. Like, she knows she doesn't like that she's not a good writer, but she can edit like, uh, you know, off the off the charts, editing and revising. And I think that we all have those components, like the parts of ourselves that, like, where I would be terrified and somebody else isn't, or like, I think we have to like own our strengths and weaknesses and how do we work with them. And I think that you bring out that with people. It's like that, and the things that you've mentioned, like taking the pause and looking and being able to like name these things, like naming what our strength is, naming, like owning, like the things, like when I think of certain things that I was ashamed. When I was in high school, they told me I shouldn't go to college. Like, I wasn't smart enough because of one test. It was a standardized. I was ashamed for decades. Like, I told no one that. And now it's like
Right.
liberating to, it's like, because I was so ashamed. So I think that,
Yeah, because it's like, are you kidding me? Now we realize what the heck it really is after
and
we gave everything away because these people knew more and were whatever. And then you get out, you finally make it to a certain age in life and you realize, are you kidding?
So I think it's like and seeing her, like I'm in my 60s and she's in her 80s, and watch a lot of the end of her book is about aging and just communicating, like with her husband, either with hearing things or memory. Someone forgot to write it or someone wrote it, and where is the paper? And like the challenges of that. And I won't go into this too much, but she also does talk about a lot about sex, which is which is really interesting too. Like, it's not over necessarily when you're 80 or and it's like, but how that changes in a relationship over time as well. So it's like she's her openness and her honesty is like a kind of like a mirror for me to, an affirmation. And that I just love that. I would put the word, okay, so we have love, peace, joy, and also like that, like you have to be willing to for all of that. And like the like being real with ourselves and who we are, and not, I don't know, looking at that shame and letting, releasing it. Or and I think that's what you've been doing too. I know I have. I don't think you can walk around with a lot of shame if you're doing the kind of work that you're doing.
You know, I decided to love myself. And it's been little step by little step by little step. But I can say I love myself now. And you know what else? I've made mistakes and I'm gonna make more. I'm gonna make mistakes. And it's okay.
Right. It's that
It's
permission. Yeah.
okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. Uh, and I think I'm just giving myself a little bit of grace now. You know, my mom died at 50 and her mom died at 56. And I feel like I've been gifted these years. Like I said, I'm 61, almost 61 and a half. But I'm 61, so I feel like I'm a bit ahead of the game. And the ancestors talk to me pretty good.
Ah, that there's more inspiration and connection.
I have got a fan club like nobody's business. Yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of, I mean, I broke the mold there, the family there. So it's important. It's important work. I'm glad people listen to me, you know? I'm glad that to hear that what I say and do is of value,
Mhm.
to others, because I know it is for me. It's the only thing keeps me going. So I'm amazed. I'm amazed myself. Do you want to read anything today?
Um, I don't think so. I don't,
Okay.
um,
Yeah, you don't have to. I'm just asking.
I do want to say one more thing about that, that I think that what I find in Bonnie's book too, which enriches me and what I feel in you, is like it's heart centered in this age of information, like what you were saying with all the distractions. I feel like when we're real and when we're making the space to listen and open and heal, like it's heart work. And I think that that's also almost like a contradiction to our society. Like sometimes it's like I don't need to know all that. Like I don't need to know the details.
No, I'm over it. I'm quite sick of it. You
Yeah.
because okay, well, you look even at an email. Oh, well, this sounds fun. Let me see. And then you page after page, click this. You never get to how much it costs. And
I know.
until you finally get to how much it costs and you've out of your reach and you've just wasted 10 minutes of your life. And I'm just sick of it.
Mhm.
And everything's so perfectly polished. And I'm not
I think
polished.
like it's like fake. You could almost like it's
I'm
like or
kind of
artificial
Well,
or
it started with like, back in the day, you used to get the little note cards and letters, and then you get the emails. So it's just getting heavier in that. whole vein. I just think that mistakes are undervalued.
I agree.
I'm here to show everybody
And I don't even
how
know,
pretty they are.
I don't even know if they're mistakes.
Eh, well, and it's judging, because I say a lot of people, because that did stop me from doing a lot of things in life because of how I thought other people would see it. You can't start out being A+ student on any of it. Um, and I don't even think I want to be. I'm not trying to be anything anymore. I already
Right,
had a
exactly.
career,
It's like,
you know?
and that's, for me at this stage in my life, it's gone from like the doing to the being, like just, I'm just gonna be, and things just
Yeah.
flow.
So what do I need? Peace. So we're having peace, please. Peace,
Peace.
please, is what my heart said. Peace, please. And so that's whatever that brings. Although we have a submission for poems. Did you see I'm putting together a little ebook?
Oh, no, I didn't.
So submissions for poems or little writing that you want to the theme is peace.
Uh-huh.
Um and it's going to be offered freely, and there's no compensation or anything, but I've got some great poets that submitted beautiful poems for it, and some lesser known ones that submitted beautiful words as well. And then we're also got Poets for Peace open mic that we added to the
Oh, oh, I love
to
that.
the schedule, which just sounds fun. Doesn't it sound fun? I hope that's a success. I hope a lot of people sign up for that.
So is that just in this area, or that, can I share that with, I have a cousin
Oh,
who's a
it's
poet.
on the internet.
She was part of like the a peace movement in Denver.
Mm.
Anyway, she's a poet, I think, and she'd be really interested in that. She's done a lot of poetry around peace.
No, that would be totally wonderful. No, we connect with Greece and Scotland and
Oh,
Ireland and
wow.
all over the place. Yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
it's pretty cool. It's lovely.
aw.
It's lovely. It's lovely, lovely virtual community, you know, because it's with people that are showing up for themselves through the vein of writing.
Mhm.
And so that's what's really pretty cool. Um, so what else do you want to say about the book you write?
Well,
What do
this
you
is the
call it?
first
Shadow? What did you call it? Shadow.
ghostwriting. So I
Ghostwriting.
am writing it in Bonnie's voice, first
Mhm.
person. So it's her story. So that's interesting too. Like, I don't want to put my words into it. It's like her grammar, the way that she speaks. And so that's like I've gotten into it. It's like, it was a little challenging at the beginning to do that. But it's actually quite fun. And she'll say, oh, something, she'll mention something. I'm like, oh, I can tell you when you said that or did that. Because I have everything. I have my organizational system. But this is the first time I'm talking about her book, um, like in a public way.
Mm.
And I also could see it as a documentary.
It
Um,
sounds
she,
fun.
she
It
has
sounds fun.
she has quite a chronicle of photos and all kinds of things. But I think that the other thing I'll say is like the end of her book is a lot about, like mentioned earlier, like a lot about aging, which I like. It's like I'm really learning a lot. It's like about her process in aging and like what works and how important it is. Like, she talks a lot about how she has to take care of herself and everything takes longer. So she's right with you when it comes to like self-care and all, and what's required as she's living longer. And so I think that whole end of the book on aging could actually be a pamphlet.
Mm,
um
mm.
so I just see,
You
I could
know,
just see like other things with it. Like, I could see it as a documentary about a wise woman.
right. When does this book you expect to make make the debut?
I don't know. And that was
Yeah.
one of our things. It was like people often ask that, especially your husband.
Yeah, it takes time
And,
though.
and we just look at, because we've decided like, but we're not in a rush.
Right, right.
She's not in a rush, and it's, you know, we have to go
You're
through.
enjoying the experience. It's all good.
So, but the content's there, like it would just be revised, like we're really revising at this point, especially after this summer. So
Yeah.
it's pretty close.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's that is a very good point though, because you start applying that pressure and all that, and then it's about enjoying the journey.
And then I know, then you get tapping right into what you're saying. How are you going to market it? Who's going to read it? What do you get as people, like people ask that, it's like,
Yeah.
we're just like doing it, and like we'll be guided. Like it's hard to, it's like you have to come up with almost like a pat response to those kinds of questions. Like,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm. I do want to say that when you do have it all together, you guys both come on and we'll have a
that would be a blast.
yeah, 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 for sure. And we'll figure out something fun to do to help launch that, to
That'd be a
help
blast.
launch that.
You would love
Well,
her.
thank you for sharing that that all about that book. I mean, honestly, our conversation was wow, went in many different offshoots. So much we talked about today. Do you want to say anything else about your book?
My Transforming to Joy book.
Mm,
Um, I like to, if anyone is interested in it, I'm happy to gift anyone a copy. It's addiction is rampant, and to be a loved one trying to respond to someone while you're watching someone with that kind of addiction is most challenging and excruciating. And learning ways to respond rather than react has been huge for me. And I can't tell you how grateful I am that Adam and I had such a positive and loving relationship before he died. Like I'm so grateful for that. Um, it wasn't at one of the really stressed times. Um, so I'm happy to offer it, or if anyone's interested in it, I'm happy to gift them or send it or whatever. I put it in like those little boxes sometimes, like like the little free boxes for um, books, and people buy it. Like it's on Amazon, and but
how
yeah,
can they get in touch with you?
through my art website, so lisaldesigns.com. It's on there under book.
LisaLDesigns.com.
Yep, with the S at the end of designs with an S .com.
That's nice. What else is on your heart that you want to make sure you share or say today?
I would say that while we went in different directions, I think the core thing was the love, the joy, the peace, the pause, and that being in that presence. I think I might even practice a little Eckhart's, like before you, maybe after I start the car because it's hot here. Get the AC going. But I think I'm going to practice taking more of those pauses. But I also, so I would end with the peace, please, with a thank you, Zenjen, like that thank you as well, that gratitude to wrap it up, gratitude for our journeys and each other, and that there are people that we can be honest and be the fullness of who we are with. So I would
Yeah.
close off with a thank you after the please and thank you.
And a thank you to you too. Yes, to be able to share with people is just beautiful. And thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for everything you shared. And yeah, thank you for taking time out of your life and coming and sharing your story, sharing your love, sharing your time. Thank you so much for that. Good to see you again too.
I know.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And deep gratitude.
Yes.
Everybody, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and for listening again. Please visit zenfulconversations.com. We are adding to it all the time. Just depends what I think of. And then I put it on there. And then I'm like, really, Jen?
Inspiration.
How are you going to fill in all those details? But yes, and there's a lot of fun things on there. So they're all offered freely, although we do have opportunity to become supporters as well. Zenfulconversations.com and lisalddesigns.com. Thanks so much, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Jen. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. Thanks, everyone.